Everybody, Ty Peak Performance Parts. Today we have all the front suspension for our 1968 Chevelle. This all works for a 68 to 72 GMA body. I just wanted to go over a couple of the components from UMI Performance that make some of the best suspension out there. Clearly why we chose it. So starting off with the control arms, this control arm part number is a 4031. So it's a ½ inch taller ball joint with a standard poly bushing in it. You can get this with a Delrin bushing. All of them will come standard with a spring cup. That being said, we're using this with a coilover application. They are compatible with coilovers or stock springs, however you wanted to do that. They are very heavy duty. The ball joint cup is actually CNC'd in-house in Pennsylvania, where UMI is located, along with a lot of the components for the upper control arms as well. So the upper control arm, it's got a more ideal location for the upper ball joint mounting flange. It is braced. It's got a in-house machine 4130 crossbar with greasable Delrin bushings. These are going to last a lifetime, and they're going to take all of the beating that we're going to give them. As far as the coilovers, we've got Viking Warrior double adjustable coilovers. The way these work is they actually utilize the stock upper perch for the spring. So on one end, our coilover will sit through here like this, and then it'll actually sit up into the stock location on the frame. But it'll still give us all the adjustment for ride height and also compression and rebound. So we've got all the hardware that comes with it. They don't come completely assembled, so we'll have to assemble our lower crossbar for the mounting on the front and the rear. Additionally, we got our spanner wrenches and also a Torrington thrust bearing for the coilovers. That's going to make adjusting it a breeze. It really does. Rather than having a solid contact point, you've got those roller bearings that allow that to move freely. It's just going to make it live a lot longer, make adjustments and servicing a lot easier. Then lastly, the sway bar. We opted for an 1¼ inch front sway bar for this application. The car is going to be primarily street, so we don't want to go too crazy with it. We don't need anything solid mounted, splined, anything like that. Ultimately, this is, I feel like, the ultimate package for 68 to 72 Chevelle, Malibu, Buicks and Pontiacs, a slew of other cars that this stuff fits on. It's all built here in the USA at UMI Performance in Pennsylvania. So everything is fabricated, CNC machined, welded, all that stuff it happens in Pennsylvania. So we really appreciate you guys up there doing that. With all this stuff, it's optional to get the hardware, and we just opted for everything. We need everything. We're going to replace as much as possible. So whenever you're ordering this stuff, the coilovers are obviously going to come with their spanners, their hardware. But as far as the control arms, we opted for their hardware packs, and it's going to come with everything you need. And there's no guesswork, no 1,000 trips to the hardware store. So we're going to have every nut and bolt that we need to put this stuff on, and it really honestly should be a breeze. They make this stuff so nice that it's hard to go wrong with it. So we'll get some detailed videos on this stuff going in and how it goes together and how easy it goes together. So we'll get that cracking. All right, so on these, In your A body, your steering arm actually acts as a steering stop. This little extension right here on this side will actually contact the control arm. Now on these UMI control arms, there's a nice little pad they've welded on here. Take the brunt of that in fast turning situations, or just to keep you from really damaging the control arm, they put some reinforcement in there for you. That was awful nice of them, but hopefully we won't be needing that. We don't need no turns where we're going. All right, so these are double adjustable. So when we're saying double adjustable, what we mean is adjustable on compression and adjustable on rebound. Now that's not high speed, low speed, that's a 4-way adjustable shock. So that would be compression, high and low or fast and slow, rebound, high and slow, faster. So here, Viking sends a chart that covers about 90% of everybody. So what we got, we're gonna be using this chart right here. Now where we're at is right here, drag less than 600 horsepower. So on the front and the rear, so front for the compression knob, C knob, we're gonna be at 12 to 18 clicks, and the rebound knob is gonna be 0 to 4 clicks. Now, when we're talking that number, you may ask yourself, 12 to 18 clicks or 0 to 4 clicks or however many clicks from where? Position 0 is the softest setting, and it's found by turning the knob counterclockwise until it stops. We're turning this counterclockwise. So on the compression, what we want is 12 to 18. So we're gonna put that right smack dab in the middle at 15. So it's already there. So we're at the softest position. So all the way counterclock. So we're just gonna count 15 clicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now on the rebound, we want 0 to 4, so we're going to put that right at 2. Now when we mount these in the car, we're going to mount them with the knobs facing out towards the wheel. That's the easiest position for them to be in for adjustment later, so you don't have to take this thing off the car to adjust it. You can just reach in and turn the knob to however many clicks you desire, and your shock is adjusted. Now it's time to assemble these shocks. In this particular kit, we've got Viking double adjustable, so we've got compression and rebound on these shocks. These are the fronts. This is the spring that we have. It actually registers on the top in the factory spring pocket on the chassis, and then it's only got a threaded hole on the bottom of it. So it's not captured on both ends like a universal 4-link coilover or something like that. And then on the bottom, you'll see that this is how it comes shipped. And if you can see, there are some grooves in there, and they send us this spherical bearing and also this T-bar. So these go inside of each other, very tight fit. Spherical bearing goes in here, and then they send you these retaining clips. Pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to explain it to you anyways. This feller goes in here and is retained by the big clips. And then this one goes inside of that one, and it is retained by the small clip. It does go in, it's not a press fit, so if it locks up or quits moving, don't force it through. You're gonna have a bad time. There you go. Should have free movement. Should spin a little bit. Okay, moving on. I'm gonna apply a little bit of anti-seize to these threads, and these threads, along with applying anti-seize lubricant to our Torrington bearings. This is a thrust bearing kit, part number 7917-101. This is for a pair. So the kit is going to come with 4 washers, 2 bearings, 2 washers per bearing, one on top, one on bottom. What this does is this eases adjustment. So if you only had the one washer between the spring and the collar, just like this, there's a lot of pressure on that, and it may be very difficult to spin, even with the lubricant on it. Now, also, as the vehicle's going down the road, there's going to be a lot of friction there without there being a bearing. So now, the way this assembles is your spring now seats on this top washer, and you'll spin this guy to adjust it to ride height. And then the bottom one, your lock nut, will go up and tighten against it. I think what we're going to do, thinking about this, it doesn't stick out too far on the bottom, but we're going to run the bolts down through, so that way in the case that a nut does fall off, we don't lose the hardware altogether. And also, remember, this is still on a spherical bearing, so there's really nothing to keep tension on it. So don't just drop it and forget about it. That's good. Alright, so it's tight enough. It's not going to fall off. Our hardware is still relatively loose where we can adjust this side to side because it is slotted on the bottom, so the T-bar is slotted. So to get it exactly where we need it to, we can slide it back and forth. You don't really want to use the shock as a travel limiter. You don't want it to pull on this. We're going to use it to hold the control arm up while we assemble the hubs. There's a small diameter end and a big diameter end. We're going to go on to the coilover. Now we are ready to assemble our disc brake hubs. And once we have those assembled, we can drop her on, put it in, bolt these together. Now I'm still leaving this loose because we're not at ride height, clearly. We'll set that whenever we get the car on the ground with the engine and trans and everything in it. So this is a 1.25 inch solid bar. It says 6081 GM. I'll have to double check the part numbers to see if this same part number works for anything other than, A bodies. Rather, I should say, to be technically correct, this is an anti-sway bar. This does not induce sway, it prevents it. So the tension in the bar itself, in the instance of your car swaying, right, back and forth, one side is going to twist, and the other side is naturally going to want to twist the opposite direction. So you're twisting this 1.25 inch solid bar, and what that's doing is it's going to essentially keep your car more flat in a cornering situation and turning situation. So that's the skinny on how an anti-sway bar works. How a regular sway bar works, I have no idea. Alright, so we're just cleaning up our holes a little bit. Pretty chunky mount there. Probably could have made it a little narrower. Probably universal.
It's like almost all the way on the inside, isn't it?
So this is the hardware that you would get for your stock control arms. But since we are using these tubular control arms, we are going to use the rod end. So use a shorter bolt. This is a much shorter hardware setup. These will accept a large amount of misalignment. So to begin assembly, start with your bolt, a washer, and your bushing with it's got a little ridge on it. You can see, and it's got a bigger ridge on the other side. You want the big ridge to sit in your little petri dish, and the little ridge is going to go through the actual anti-sway bar.